Welcome to yet another Tin Dog podcast. This time talking about episode 2 of Flux. Ooh, let me see. Sontaran War? Yeah, let's go with that. Now, as always, got my notebook. That's nice. Because it's very important that you have everything written down that you want to think about because, you know what? I am prone to forgetting. I am an old man after all. You've got Sontarans. You've got two actors playing Sontarans. You've got Starkey, who's been playing Sontarans for ever, since Chris Ryan decided not to play them anymore. And then we've got the new bloke, who's clearly very Scottish. Now, we're not sure how they're Scottish, but that's fine. We can live with that. We really can. So, we start off with the previously on, which is very nice because, some of us might have not seen last week's. There's at least three people out there. I know we have to pander to the not we. We always do. We always will. And I'm sure I'll do a video about that at some point. But what have we got? Well, things I forgot to mention last time. Any other business? Let's do that. Like an agenda. No, not that kind of agenda. You know what I mean. No. Last time I forgot to mention the tiny house agenda. Now, as an archaeological, no, architectural. As an ex-architectural model maker, I used to make tiny little houses. And whenever I see tiny little houses and things, I'm always very judgmental about them and how they're built and what they look like and everything. And last week's was very good. So we're quite willing to go along with the tiny house agenda. Anything else that I mentioned? The sound mix. Yes, we've been banging on about this since 2006? Where we've been going, music's a bit loud. Am I just old? Am I just old though? Is it that it's too loud? Is it that I just can't work out what's being said? And you know what? I just can't work out what's being said. I have to watch it again with the subtitles on. Now, I know that that's a massive hardship having to watch Doctor Who again, seriously. But, and here's the thing, some people are put off by this. Elderly relatives, for example, are put off by the fact that you can't hear what's going on. And if you can't hear what's going on and you're just left with, well, an absence of exposition, then what you're going to end up with is a lot of people not watching. And the last thing we want is a lot of people not watching, especially if you listen to the internet or watch any YouTube videos. Again, I'll cover that another time. So we open with Floaty House. Oh yeah, Floaty House. Now, for me, it looked a lot like the poster for one of those films you scroll straight past when you're looking at Sky for a movie to watch. I don't know what it's called, House in the Woods or something. It looked like not game footage from a game. One of those cutaways from, I don't know, Silent Hill or something like that, where you'd go, oh, that's fantastic, that's fascinating. I wonder if we'll come back to that. And you don't. Now, I know a lot of people out there will instantly go, oh, strange floaty house. That's a bit weird. That must be Lungbarrow. Yeah, Lungbarrow, the mythical home of the Seventh Doctor, as seen in one story that wasn't even on TV. It was from Virgin Books, and it's the sort of thing that we've been banging on about for years because it contains the word looms. If you need to know about looms, please feel free to go somewhere else because I've gone on about them far too much and it's just not important. One of the things that is important is Mary Sequel. Now, Mary Sequel is a major important historical character for many reasons, most of which are really obvious. One of them, for me, is that she's been systematically removed from the British history syllabus for schools. We're going, oh yes, it's not Florence Nightingale. Now there's a brilliant, absolutely superb You're Dead to Me all about her, and I suggest you go and find that. It's a Radio 4 free download. It tells you all about her history, her life and everything. Fascinating woman. But there's an argument that because British society's become more right-wing and a lot more white-based, people are trying to ignore the bits of black history that are really, really important. Now, Mary Sequel was the nurse, who was closer to the front than Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale was primarily, and I know this will appeal to a lot of Doctor Who fans out there, a statistician. Because the British aristocracy are so up themselves and don't care about the working class, especially historically, Florence Nightingale's solution to cleanliness in the wards was to use stats. She told the aristocracy and the powers that be that the reason The best way to save money, not lives, money, is not to have new soldiers brought in to fight the Crimean War. It was to heal the ones who were already there, and the best way to heal them was to have cleaner hospitals. You prove this using stats. Oh yeah, we all love stats. Charts, pie charts. She would be the queen of PowerPoint these days. And that's what Florence Nightingale's true strength was, to be able to prove this. Mary Seacole, a lot more hands on deck. So she is very, very important. Now, somebody said, what do you predict from this story? I do indeed predict two things. Number one, there will be lots of nice hats. There were indeed lots of nice hats, as seen here and here. But one of the things I also predicted was that Mary Seacole would be largely underused. You see, you introduce her, you introduce the British hospital, the English hospital, whatever you want to call it, hotel, cafe, and then you take her, you don't even put her in a fridge. What you put her in is a place where she can watch the Sontarans and make some notes. What is she, a podcaster? No, this is not going to happen. But this is exactly what does happen. She makes notes and she works out that the Sontarans apparently all retreat. All retreat? I'll cover that in a moment. No, I'll do it now. They all retreat to their ship once every 27 hours for 7 minutes, thus giving them a nice little opportunity to attack. Now, even the Sontarans, who are notoriously stupid, will have thought of a shift pattern. You only need to recharge, say half your army goes and recharges. The other half can be in defense mode or can be attacking and be off somewhere. You don't recall everyone for 7 minutes and then plug them in. Also, when the head of the army is being recharged, there's actually a guy sitting to one side, like waiting to use the cubicle, or in fact, monitoring communications, waiting for his turn. So therefore, not all of them are being done. Now, I know the whole venting gas means that none of them can recharge in the future, perhaps after the battle. So perhaps it's a supply issue, but then you've got where does Strax get his stuff from, and that means Vastra will have to have built something, or the Doctor, which was more likely. And then you've got also Sontarans and time travel. When I'm watching it, I'm kind of going, did they have time machines? But then, of course, you've got your two Doctors storyline, which is Sontaran based, and they're trying to get time travel. You've got the Sontarans talking about how they weren't allowed to play in the Great Time War. So they were arguably kind of a time power, but not really. They're very interested in power, but they're not interested in time travel technology. So I can kind of forgive them. The problem with, for me, the little flag that was giving them an alert, is that when you looked at the map, it said, Great Britain and Jamaica was still there. And then it went over to Russia, which was Sontar. Now, my wife did point out, she was like, is it all right for the Russians to be the villains in this? And of course, the answer is, well, yeah, because the Russians were the villains in the Crimean War. And by villains, I mean just the other side. All trying to fill the vacuum of the Ottoman Empire. All stuff that they didn't bother teaching us at school, and you have to find out for yourself. Yay! Oh, Angel of Scutari, go and listen to that from Big Finish. Now, apparently there's a Mary Seacole story from Big Finish as well, but it's a 12th Doctor Chronicle. Now, because I'm reviewing so much stuff from Big Finish, I had to draw the line somewhere, and I tend not to do the Chronicles, which is a mistake that I really should go back and correct. So I think I will. I will dig that out. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, I'm sure you can go back and find it. Now, let's have a look at the notes. Ah, yes. The Megara. No, not the Megara. The Twinkly Triangle thing. Yay! We love the Twinkly Triangle thing. Now, my immediate thought wasn't Megara, which is a reference to a Fourth Doctor story, The Key to Time. No, this is more Automan and Bit, or Pixel, was he called? Can't really remember. Don't care. Doesn't matter. It's a floaty thing that's helpful. My wife's immediate response to hearing its voice was to go, now that sounds more like a doctor talking. And that was like 2 lines in. Is she that desperate to lose Jodie? The answer is yes. Yes, she is. So these floaty things. Now, for me, one of the things that they did remind me of was this. Yes, it was the very exciting paperclip from Microsoft. Now, it looks like you're trying to save the universe. Would you like some help with that? Maybe's not, but it did ring some bells. Which, of course, brings me back to what would the Doctor do, which is Yaz's response. Now, I know we've got a whole storyline of, oh, we're in a mysterious temple. Oh, we've got the, Yaz talking to the bloke from Liverpool. Yeah. When he goes, hello, I'm going to see some mysterious things that make no sense. Yes, you are. Thank you very much. Would you like to help me join forces? Not really. Okay, why not? Well, I think you'll find that my storyline comes to fruition in 4 episodes' time. And when that happens, I'll then say things that make more sense. But until then, I must remain mysterious. Ooh. And he does. And then he wanders off, leaving Yaz with her hand thing. Oh, in 2013, I wrote Blue Box Messiah, 2012, for release in 2013. And one of the bits in Blue Box Messiah is dealing with, well, here's a bit as performed by some Lego people. I mean, take Amy, for example. She talked a bomb out of exploding by appealing to its humanity. Don't remind me, it made me feel sick at the time. Or Smithy. What's his face? Craig from The Lodger. That Cyberman story, Closing Time. Yeah, that's it. It was a love that conquered all, and it made the Cybermen explode. Again, it left a bad taste in my mouth, but I will agree that one of the Doctor's main weapons is love. Just like a few other great leaders. So that makes him a great figure to look up to hold up as a moral compass? Yeah, you can now go through life asking yourself, what would the Doctor do? Oh, that would make a good t-shirt. Or a bracelet, like the Americans have. I have no idea what you're talking about. Some American Christians have these bracelets with letters on them. WWJD. WWJD. Yeah, it means what would Jesus do? I guess it's not as perfect here, though. I mean, he would probably do something using made-up science, or even worse, put his friends in danger. Or in the real world, the answer to the question, what would the Doctor do, is simply, he'd be bored to death by our mundane lives and problems. Good point. Still think it would make a nice silver bracelet. WWTDD engraved on it. That's Christmas sorted. So, that was from the play, which you can get on Amazon if you really wanted to, and I'm sure at some point I'll release it as an audio. But what is important is that, well, what would the Doctor do? Like Rimmer says, probably something French. Oh no, that's Napoleon. Right, what we're left with is... what's going on with the strange aliens? Well, I'm sure we'll find out. Yes, it's obvious that they are pre-Hartnell villains. They remember a lot more. They know what's going on. Yes, there's a build-up, there's a climax. And yes, we know that Yaz could be in trouble. And yes, she's in the next time trailer. So obviously she's not in as much trouble as you think. Which is standard stuff for Doctor Who. So there are some extra things. I know that last time my wife said some things that everyone kind of jumped on and agreed with and went, perhaps she should be podcasting instead. And you know what? Perhaps she should. But this is my time. This is not for her. She says things like, do you not think that firing squad is a bit much? And the answer was yes, because it just didn't feel right. It felt a lot more Torchwood than it ever feels like with Doctor Who. The bit with the TARDIS. Yes, it does feel that there's a bit of storyline with the TARDIS being in pain and dying. That's actually more to do with the practical knowledge that they're going to get rid of the set and rebuild it for something else. Possibly switching over to the green TARDIS of the first Doctor or the Renegade Doctor once we get around to it, because that is a gorgeous set and it just feels nice. And if you were Russell, I'd probably just use that set. I won't. Obviously, let's face it, he went with Coral, which is fab. I just don't know. But I think this TARDIS set is definitely on the way out. Then you've got Doggy Man. You've got the whole time chat. Yeah, now, when I was talking about the map earlier, the thing about the map is that the Russians were already Sontarans, but the Sontarans in the storyline had just arrived in order to fight the English because the guy just wanted to ride a horse. And God bless him for that. So how did the map have the Russians? Did the Sontarans land in Russia, kill all the Russians, and then replace them historically? I don't think so. Yes, there are two parallels of memories going on, so that's fine. but the map kind of throws things. I don't mind the Sontarans turning up instead of the Russians for that particular battle, for that particular war, but I do mind them being historically replaced. That's different. Does that make sense? Am I thinking about this too much? Really? A Doctor Who fan thinking about stuff too much? I think so. So, not everything is rosy in this story, quite clearly. We've got ongoing storylines, but we've also got Yasmin and the new bloke. Not happy about this. Not because in classic Doctor Who, all you have to do is go, "Oh, you're particularly attractive. Yes, I know, thanks. Oh, let's leave now." And then they would scamper off together. Or, "I vaguely agree with your politics. Do you? That's marvellous. Let's leave together." So they do that. That's how you get rid of a companion. But the idea that Yaz is going to run off with someone who isn't Claire from the last episode just makes me feel weird. But that's because even in this non-binary age, perhaps my worldview is still a little bit more traditional. And I think that my original idea bears more credence than this one. It's like that Prisoner episode where the guy could arguably not be a spy until the one episode where he's definitely a spy. It's like that. There's no vagaries about this. It's implied that perhaps she's just going to join forces with him. That I can live with. But running off with him in the end, let's have none of that. Let's have some proper relationship advice as seen in last week's episode. What else does my notes say? There is, of course, the exciting next time business. Well, of course, we love that. The only thing in my notes that really I haven't mentioned is the zero coordinates. Now, obviously, that implies that this is actually the basis of all time and all space. This is one of those more Eternals, DC kind of a thing. The sort of place where the Sandman would be from. That kind of thing. Rather than, for example, Gallifrey, which would have been coordinate zero. You know what I mean, like visiting E-space and things. These are all old school things. But as the Doctor Who community is old school and all of the people running the show are also old school, we can live with this. I'm sure the guy who behaves and walks like the Joker channeling Freddie Mercury, we can live with that. And as for my theories about her being more crystalline than him, well, we'll get back to you because she does seem to be turning a lot more people into dust than he does. And the passenger? What's going on there? He's clearly the muscle, but as they're possibly the most powerful creatures in the universe, does he need muscle? What's he for? Right, I've spoken for far too long, and I'll let you go now and experience, probably go back and watch Doctor Who. I would if I was you. Right, so until next time, be seeing you.
Scanning for audio.